HD2 and W239BF Rochester. The sports leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR Rochester. An Odyssey sports station. Welcome into the Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia, where the voice of the Rochester fan is heard. Pull up a stool and join us at 866-4326. This is WGR Rochester, and the Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia is on now.
2 hours of sports talk excellence as we are high step into the weekend from the High Falls Studios in downtown Rochester, where it's raining out, but it's not dampening our spirits. Welcome. You found us here in the Sports Bar for the last day in this time slot. If you missed it, we're moving back to afternoon drive starting Monday, 4 to 6, our new time slot. But for today, we're here 1 to 3. Got a great show lined up for you today. We're on 95.7 FM, AM 950, streaming for free inside the Odyssey app. We're on YouTube and on Twitch. If you'd like to give us a call, you can on the Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub Wingman line at 585-866-4326. Award-winning barbecue from Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub, 135 West Commercial Street, East Rochester, goodsmokebbq.com. We also accept your comments on social media. Our best way to reach us during the show, probably our X account. We're at WGR Rochester. In the background, Dan DeLorean, who today is training Francesco. Dan DeLorean is headed to the woods, and he legitimately turns off his phone for a week and a half. And he just lights a campfire and stares at the campfire and just lets his beard grow long. So actually, I kind of respect that a little bit. His message to me today was, don't call me. And if you do, my phone is off. I'm like, could you survive like a day with the phone being off?
No.
Much less a week?
Maybe a day. Definitely not a week.
Our fine producer, Tim Schneider, joining us as well. Thad Brown, News 8, joining us bottom of this hour as, yes, Bills camp wrapping up today. We'll get with that. We have Bills news. Certainly tomorrow is going to be a big news day. And, yeah, that's it. That's a wrap. I have 2 recurring dreams, and I don't know what these means. Probably I should see a shrink or something, right? One is I go to a vacation spot, and I go to this hotel, and I'm happy and I'm sad I'm leaving. Now, what's weird about this is it's always a spot I've never been to. Where is it? I don't know. But I wake up, and I'm like, what was that? Why? I have no idea. It's like I had a favorite vacation spot in a past lifetime. I don't know what that is. The other one is this is weird too. You got that one. The other recurring dream I have is it's the final day of training camp, and it's hot, and it's windy, and we're all alone. And I think this actually happened one year where, and then we had guests, and they were all falling apart. And it's one of those dreams where, you're nervous at work and things aren't going right. But it is a weird vibe on that campus when it's over. And this year, camp, it is already over. 10:30 this morning, that was it. And anybody is, who's going to be there tomorrow night, whether that's players, staff, whatever, they're already back in Buffalo. That's it. So the teardown has begun amazingly quick, and I just cherish we have the week and a half here. When we talk to Thad Brown here coming up, that's the first question is this going to be the new norm going forward? Because, well, for now, until we get to a new CBA, you still have 3 preseason games. I do believe we'll get to a point where you have 18 regular season and 2 preseason. If I'm the Players Association, I'm saying hell no, right? Unless you're going to give us more money and more jobs and everything else that comes along with it. Yeah, I think the NFL owners might get their way on that, but that's a few years down the road, 2030-ish probably. So until we get to that point, well, you have preseason game 3, preseason game number 2, preseason game number 1. If you're not in the Hall of Fame game, the Bills have this established that, hey, we're going to have this scrimmage in our new stadium. And tomorrow night, that's going to be one of the headline stories in the NFL. Look at this new stadium. Football activities in the new stadium, and look at how many thousands of people are there just to watch practice in Buffalo. I would liken it to, if you're going tomorrow, sure, you want to see Josh Allen throw to DJ Moore, or you want to see the safeties work in tandem, whatever it is you want to keep your eye on. Because your expectation is that this should look a little more like football, more 11 on 11, more of that sort of stuff. Maybe you even get some 2-minute drill sort of things. But you're there tomorrow. It's like going to your first day at high school. Now, these days, like you have the orientation that's way before, right? You can kind of walk in and see everything before your first day of high school, first day of college. They have college orientations too. But that's the first thing. Like when you get there, you're going to take a lap around the stadium. You're going to want to walk to different areas. You're going to take in the artwork. Hey, let's see if we can go find that broken table that is considered art here. Only in Western New York, right? Like that's what you want to do. So tomorrow, my suggestion is if you are lucky enough to get a ticket to the scrimmage, go early. Hang out early. Like just kind of take it all in. It's summertime. Treat it for what it is. And if you had your fill, okay, you don't need to stay there till the end of the practice. It's only a practice. That Brown will be joining us here in a little bit. Talking about the Bills news of the day before we get to like camp breaking and whatnot. Credit Eric Turner, cover one. He had the first beat on this. That hey, the Bills locking up O'Cyrus Torrence. Here's Joe Brady talking about this move, locking up their right guard.
He's one of the top guards in football, and like last year he battled through so much and was out there with every injury and didn't blink, and he's as tough as it gets, and he's kind of the epitome of what we want. We have Josh Allen, and first and foremost we got to keep him protected and keep him clean, and I believe you're going to win up front offensively, offensive line, defensive line, and Cybo's a critical component to that.
Now, the Bills get criticized for what? Oh, the wide receiver room, Gene, it's not strong enough. I hear you. I get it. It might be just fine this year, but by and large in the Josh Allen era, Brandon Beane era, now we can call it, McDermott era is over. No, it hasn't been good enough, not by comparison to other teams in this league. But I would just ask you, Bills fans, would you rather have what we have in Buffalo, meaning take the quarterback aside, you have a steady offensive line we don't have to ask questions about. You have a top 5 running back in this league and an adequate wide receiver room, and I'm going to include the tight ends in there too. Or let's give you the resume of the Cincinnati Bengals. Wow. He got a 1 and a 1A. Boy, Chase is awesome. T. Higgins, awesome. Oh, you're throwing a guy like Yoshevich? Wow, that's a lot of fun whipping the ball around. And it doesn't matter who we plug in a running back because we're throwing the ball so well. Yeah, and you get your quarterback killed because your offensive line sucks. We don't talk about the line enough because you kind of take it for granted. Until you get a game like in Houston last year where Deion Dawkins, I swear, was concussed that game, and it looks bad. So with Torrance being under contract now, wow, you want to talk about stability. We don't have to talk about any offensive line extensions after this season, and we can talk about it after next season if you want to. 4 of the 5 starters are under contract now in 2027 and beyond. The 2027 contract being Deion Dawkins. Hard for me to imagine that if Deion Dawkins continues to provide what he did. And again, last year by his standard, not the best, but good opportunity for him to bounce back. I would expect Deion Dawkins to be retiring as a Buffalo Bill. He's selling you cars here in Rochester. Like, look up the billboard. There he is, smiling at you with tight end Dawson Knox and the quarterback. So to me, that's something you don't have to worry about. You don't have to worry about the other side of the ball, too, where Spencer Brown, 2028 his contract goes to. I remember where I was. I was driving downtown and headed to the Section 5 basketball championships, Blue Cross Arena. As I'm heading in, I look at my phone. I'm like, you're kidding. Like the Bills re-signed Connor McGovern? I thought they had Cedric Van Pran Granger ready to take over. Nope, Connor McGovern through 2029. And now O'Cyrus Torrence under contract through the year 2030. So again, Dawkins 27 contract up, Brown 28 contract up, McGovern 29, and Torrance 2030. You have the competition at left guard, and Anderson probably is going to be the guy, and they have depth on it. And now, barring injury or anything else, it's not a position you want to, or nor you should, invest day one or day two assets in the draft. Why would you? So, again, like, at what cost? This doesn't come for free, and it may come at the price of getting another good receiver. That probably is the answer, right? Like, when I'm saying, okay, how do you develop the perfect offense and with the personnel? Yeah, maybe you try again a wide receiver, and we got plenty of time to talk about that. So, again, didn't see this coming with Cyrus Torrance, 4-year contract extension with the Buffalo Bills today. We'll get the thoughts of Thad Brown coming up in just a little bit. Of course, it is the day we break camp. Joe Brady offering his thoughts on his first camp here at St. John Fisher University.
I like them where the guys are at, the personality that they're playing with, the volume that we're putting on their plates and how they're handling it. You know, it's day to day, right? We're still in install and there's intentionality behind everything that we're doing, but everything that we're asking of them, they're handling it in the right way and, you know, kind of making it their own. So I'm pleased with where we're at right now, but it's every day's a challenge, right?
Yeah, and now we go to another benchmark along the way. Tomorrow night being the blue and the red scrimmage. I always get it confused. Red and blue, blue and red. Regardless, it's the team colors. Thankfully, they didn't update it. Can you imagine if they really wanted to be snarky? Hey, you know what? It's the nickel, blue and red scrimmage there, Bills fans. Kidding. Joe Brady talking about tomorrow night.
We're kind of making it like a night game. They're coming in early in the morning, going through a walkthrough. Obviously, that meeting's going to be talking about a lot of parking and all the stuff that we've kind of pushed along. But for everybody, it's kind of a trial run. I want the guys to kind of get a feel of, all right, there's going to be traffic tomorrow. And when you show up to the game, go through all the emotions of trying to figure out the stadium, looking at all the things. And then now we got to go practice.
Yeah, it's also going back to that, hey, you're a freshman now, and you're not exactly sure what time you should leave for the stadium, the parking patterns. I'm not going tomorrow night. I'm going to be in Pittsburgh. But I am going to go for the Bills-Panthers preseason game and normally be like, I'm just showing up right at the outset. No, I'm going to get there really early. I don't know where I'm going. What's funny is, like, when they have new construction quite often, well, you need different streets. Sometimes you get new drives, and they have a new drive. Now, they have one Bills drive, literally. I saw this, and I texted a good friend of the show. And thankfully, she takes my text because, well, her husband is a Rochesterian. Not anymore, but native Rochesterian. This new street is called Gray Drive. Gray Drive is how you get to one of these parking lots that Joe Brady was just referring to. I'm like, you're kidding me. This is a sign, Maggie Gray. They're naming a street after you. And she's like, really? Really, that's a stretch, Gene. Come on. But Maggie, graciously accepting the invite, she will be joining us in her new time slot, 5:25, Monday afternoon, as we're going back to where we want to be, back in drive time here in Rochester. 585-866-4326. By the way, why is it called Gray Drive? Is there some... is it named after the former Bills executive? Is there some dignitary? No, it's just as simple as this. And credit the Bills for doing this, I guess. The parking lots are named platinum, gold, silver, and then you get down to gray. So I suppose if you're like 50-yard line PSL, you get the platinum lot, and then you have the gold lot and the silver lot. Yeah, for that Panther game, I'm parking in the gray lot. So, I mean, they didn't call it nickel. Again, snarkiness here in the sports bar. 585-866-4326. So Joe Brady talking today. Josh Allen also putting a bow on things. And, yeah, this is going to be new for him tomorrow night as well.
It's really cool to be a part of a team that gets to play in the inaugural season at a new stadium, a stadium that was, I think, long needed here in Western New York. And I really don't know everything that went into building the stadium. I just know that we got a new stadium, and it's really nice, and we're very excited to be in there. And hopefully tomorrow we've got I'm assuming it's going to be a pretty good turnout. Excited just to feel the energy in there and get to know our new home.
Yeah, you paid for a PSL, you're probably going tomorrow night. or even if you're not, somebody. The thing is with our town, That is the one thing that I get hit up on a lot. And when I tell people no, it's because the answer is really no, I don't. Hey, you got camp practice tickets, Gene? Got any extra tickets to camp? And I didn't put in for the lottery myself, and I probably should have. So that way next year, I got to make a note of it. I can, hook you up if you're asking, but I don't. And, well, I would think tomorrow night, if you don't have the desire to go watch a practice in Buffalo and check out your new seats, you probably know somebody be like, I'd love to go check out the stadium. Why not? So that I would expect tomorrow to be one of the headline stories. The NFL wants to prop this up. And the NFL, because they're partners with ESPN, they're going to prop it up too. How many thousands of people were going to be watching a practice in the new stadium? That's the other thing, too, with going through camp here, week and a half. What do we say every preseason? Just stay healthy. Well, we had a injury scare with C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Didn't think we'd be talking about, hey, we get to Friday and, hey, he's back and everything's good. I honestly, camp from that standpoint went about as well as you could have hoped for. We've dealt with the soft tissue things. We've dealt with players coming back from big injuries. Didn't even think, you go back to a week and a half ago, didn't even think we'd see Michael Hoyt out there. Like, okay, will they start him on PUP? Nope. Michael Hoyt there, full go. So there's, to me, that just kind of signals, all right, it's a long season, yes. Pace yourself, blah, blah, blah. There's a sense of urgency here. As I've stated, if you go through the Howard picks the Bills exercise, it really does hinge on that first game. If the Bills want to get off to a great start, right? Because asking them to win 3 straight home games, that's a lot. Asking them to beat the Rams on the road would be really nice. Yeah, Bills underdogs, yeah, that's going to be a little different. I mean, do we pencil in a win over the Raiders? You'd like to, but every year the Bills stub their toe. It has the whiff of a 3-3 record. And if that's the case, the Bills lose to Houston, they take 2 of 3 at home, which 2, who's saying that? Meatloaf? 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Okay, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. You lose to the Rams, you beat the Raiders? Congratulations, you're 500 heading into November. Yeah, Houston game matters. 585-866-4326. There is this other storyline that we'll listen to Brandon Bean, right? Where Von Miller this offseason posted a Dallas Cowboy helmet. Oh, boy, he must be heading back to Dallas. And now Von Miller's Instagram reminiscing about his time in Buffalo. All right, is there anything to this? Is there any smoke? Von Miller coming back. Of course, the GM of the Buffalo Bills asked that today.
Von Miller, he's posted, it's on social media, a lot of Buffalo Bills fans are asking, are the Bills talking about that? Have you guys had any conversations with their camp, and is that something that you think about?
I talk to Vaughn all the time, but we're buds. But yeah, I mean, listen, I love Vaughn. You could name 10 other ex-Bills that if everything lined up right, you wouldn't say no to a guy like that. But beyond that, there's nothing imminent or nothing going.
And that's the end of that. I love Vaughn. Yeah, he meant a lot. We're buds, and yeah, I thankfully I put it this way. I would welcome Tre'Davious White back on this team. Whether White wants to accept a CB4 role, less money, yeah, that's probably not ideal in his mind. That's where we're at. I would welcome Shaq Thompson back, but right now he's not a starter, and you're not getting starter money for that. But those are the vets I would like back. I mean, in a pinch, I don't think anybody's picked up Matt Milano, but no. But when it comes to Von Miller, really no. Like, you're going to put him on the team at whose expense? They seem to be okay, actually. You may not think that the Bills have this great pass rush, but I can kind of picture between White and Parker and Bradley Chubb and certainly Greg Rousseau that position seems to be taken care of. 585-866-4326. We've got Terrible Take Timmy's Terrible Take of the Day. Terrible Time Timmy's Terrible Take of the Day. We've got Thad Brown from News 8 also joining us in a little bit. And Well, I was saying, like, the Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub Wingman line, this is actually, I consider it an honor that they are putting this together, Brian and the guys down there. It's really going to be a nice benefit for East Rochester, where they're having the first annual Good Smoke Barbecue Fest. It's going to be 2 days in September. Imagine this, like they're inviting in a competition. And all they're asking for in terms of admission is a donation to a food bank. Okay. Yeah, who can't get behind that? Okay, so the competition is on. Tim, today, I was asked to be a judge.
Awesome.
So take that, Kansas City. Take that. I don't need your ribs. I'm going to ER coming up on September the 19th to be a judge in the Good Smoke Barbecue Fest, which you can find out more information, goodsmokebbqfest.com. And that should be a lot of fun, all for a great cause. And as we get closer, we'll tell you more about that. But it's like, and if anybody thinks, oh, I bribe Gene now, he's identified himself being a judge. Well, it's not blind, it's double blind, honestly. Like when it comes, they put the food, I'm like, how does it all work? Well, we put the food in the box, and I actually am going to have to take a little training there, I guess, like what I should be looking for when it comes to barbecue. So, look, I'm excited and all for a great cause, and we appreciate Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub for their sponsorship here at the Sports Bar. Thad Brown coming up next here. My name is Gene Battaglia here on WGR Rochester.
WGR Rochester Sports Update.
That's a wrap on the St. John Fisher portion of Buffalo Bills training camp. The team heading back to Orchard Park. New head coach Joe Brady on his first camp here.
I like them where the guys are at, the personality that they're playing with, the volume that we're putting on their plates and how they're handling it. You know, it's day to day, right? We're still in install and there's intentionality behind everything that we're doing, but everything that we're asking of them, they're handling it in the right way and, you know, kind of making it their own. So I'm pleased with where we're at right now, but it's every day's a challenge, right?
Guard Osiris Torrance getting a new deal, an extension, 4 years, $78 million. The Blue and the Red scrimmage tomorrow night in the new stadium. Thad Brown from News 8 joining us next. Rochester Red Wings look to make it 3 in a row tonight, once again at Scranton Wilkes-Barre. All the action under the lights tonight in the majors, including the Braves playing in the Bronx against the Yankees. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, 95.7 FM, AM 950, WGR Rochester.
The best local sports talk in the Flower City. The Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia on the Sports Leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR. Rochester.
When we look back at this camp, it's gone. What are we going to remember this camp for? The bad weather? Like, comparatively speaking, raining every morning. But, hey, no injuries. Team seems to be in a good spot. Happy to be joined by the sports director, News 8, Thad Brown. And Thad, the team was here for a week and a half. Is this the new norm, in your opinion, what we should expect here in terms of the future? How are you today, Thad?
Good, guys. I don't know if this is going to be the new norm. I know Pete Gwelly has said a couple times that the schedule this year just kind of worked out that way. Joe Brady, first day of camp, when I asked him about the short camp, said that this was a little more about getting more time and used to that. So it's possible this might be a that coincides with the new coach schedule is more a result of having a new stadium to get used to as opposed to sponsor doesn't do. We will answer that question going to you if the schedule stays. It's possible.
All right. Thad, we're going to have to punt here, buddy. We're going to try again. I'm going to make the executive decision on that. Sorry, that happens from time to time. If you ever wonder about our medium, yes, we're live. So sorry about the bad connection. We'll try to get back to Thad on that. They do have the scrimmage tomorrow night, and then 1 week from today, that is it's going to be the Bills and Panthers, and that's one where the ticket prices might be a little bit better, I suppose, as Thad is calling back in now here. We'll see. We'll wait to get the thumbs up here. Okay, so Tim, Thad, let's hope this one's a little bit better. Sorry about that. Thad Brown, News 8, where we lost you there. Pete Gwelly saying that, all right, you know, it's just the way the schedule kind of fell, so maybe we do get a camp next year that's longer than a week and a half.
Yeah, you guys got me okay now? Is that all right?
Oh, yeah, you sound better now.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, so that was the story from the Bills officially, that this year was a combination of, or mostly just that the team had a new stadium they wanted to get used to, so they wanted to get back and you know, get as much time in that building as possible since no one has ever played in it before. But the other part of this, I talked to a few Bill staffers who all say that the idea of having a week and a half at Fisher where, you know, the team for the most part stays out at Fisher just about the whole time and then goes back to the stadium for the scrimmage and then has another week at Fisher is a little bit inconvenient. So, you know, maybe they prefer, I'm sure that I think the team in terms of like people who do all the jobs, the training staff, equipment staff, that kind of thing, I think they would prefer to just go back one time as opposed to coming back for another week. But we'll see. You know, we'll see what Joe Brady wants to do next year when we need to get used to the stadium excuse is not there for them to use, whether or not this is just more of a factor of the head coach who doesn't really want to be away. And again, this is how the league is going. Joe Brady would not be by himself in that way. Most teams have like gigundous, super expensive Taj Mahals of training facilities that are probably better than any college can offer, even one as really nicely equipped as Fisher is at this point in its relationship with the Bills.
Yeah, and at least as far as some of those tools that they do have back in Orchard Park, you don't have to use them necessarily. Thad, what are your thoughts about this team as compared to other years? They seem to be, knock on wood here, pretty healthy. I mean, how surprised were you 2 days ago, or actually it was yesterday, to see number 22 out there, Gardner Johnson back in the fold?
pretty surprised because I was out there like everybody else was on Saturday, and everything that he did or everything that injury looked like on Saturday had all the hallmarks of an Achilles injury. And to have him not only back, but back 5 days later, full go, as if nothing happened, was a big surprise. But it's a good reminder that, anytime you see any of these injuries, and any of us who've watched sports enough can recognize some of the more serious ones, that just because it looks serious doesn't mean it has to be that way, that all the wide spectrum of outcomes are available. And with TJ Gardner-Johnson, it seems like the Bills hit the pie in the sky, positive spectrum on this. But in terms of the overall, certainly being healthy is job one at training camp. And I think this has been a pretty good week and a half for the Bills. You think about the guys who are question marks or the guys the Bills have hopes for coming into this season. DJ Moore, top of the list. He's been fantastic. The drafted rookies, Caleb Alarms-Orr has been really good, but top to bottom, I've seen good flashes from Igbenogson, Parker, Skylar Bell, Jude Bowery. I mean, up and down the list, there are guys that you feel a little bit better about than I think you did when camp started. And I think for the most part, I think through a week and a half, this has been a team that, to me, has kind of lifted expectations a little bit. I mean, we're still at the point in the year where every piece of analysis we'd have about the Bills should be followed with, well, it's only August 7th. The season's still a month away. It's still early. But the first week and a half, the Fisher session this year, to me, I think is flying color success.
Elam's-Orr is one of those two inside linebacker jobs. Is it his now to lose? Is it fair to say that the two starters right now are Terrell Bernard and the rookie?
No, I would say Dorian still, because when Williams came back from being injured to start this practice, he got more of the first team reps. Now, it hasn't been consistently anybody, or I should say, I haven't seen Bernard or Dorian super consistently in there. Bernard way more than Dorian Williams, but I do think it's a very solid competition, but I wouldn't say it's anyone's job to lose. The other thing I realized too, Jim Leonard said yesterday that there's going to be roles for all the linebackers, or I think the top three guys. And whether it's Alarms-Orr or Dorian Williams, I think there will be situations where each guy is going to get an opportunity. Like, I love Alarms-Orr as a blitzer off the edge, a guy getting downhill. My question with him is a little more in coverage. So do you want to use him if you want to attack with a linebacker? That might be more something that he's suited for. Maybe playing straight up linebacker might be something you use Dorian Williams for. Either way, I think to start the year, you're going to see both Alarms-Orr and Dorian Williams a healthy amount, at least from what we've gathered so far, watching and talking to these guys early in the year.
So, and again, this draft class so far kind of so good, right? Like, a lot of guys are making contributions, and just in general, like, you would think, all right, a first rounder's making the team, second and third. If they don't, like, something's really wrong, even a fourth. Kind of the line to me is is the fifth round. So Jalen Kilgore, as a fifth rounder, he's made some plays. What are your thoughts? Is he on track to make this team perhaps that?
I think Kilgore's on the team, yeah. I think he could be – the upside with him this year is a pretty versatile piece, a guy who they might be able to use as some dime. They could put him on the field. I think he can play nickel in a pinch. He's certainly a reserve safety. I think primarily, if I had to bet, I would bet on Kilgore playing more special team snaps than defensive snaps this year. But I listed all the rookies. He's in that same boat. I think his camp has been more positive than negative, and I think he's a guy that looks like he can be a playmaker in a pinch. He's probably got some learning to do, and there's certainly a number of guys ahead of him, whether it's the safety depth chart or the nickel depth chart or where the Bills want to use him. But I've liked what I've seen so far.
Thad Brown from News 8 joining us. News of today, hey, the Bills, and they'll do this. We saw them do this with Spencer Brown. We've seen them do it with other athletes. Hey, let's not let this get to free agency. The Bills extending today Osiris Torrance. What does that say about how they want to build this team here, Thad?
Well, I've got some big questions about this move because Torrance in a vacuum, it's exactly what the Bills do. They draft a guy, he succeeds. Like you said, they get that extension done early. They don't mess around with going right to the first day of free agency in March and get them locked up. And the contract, 4 years, $78 million, without seeing details, it's probably a little expensive than you would want for a guy like Torrance, who's probably a 10th to 20th best guard in the NFL. I'd probably put him in there somewhere. Good player, but not an elite player. The thing is now you've got 4 offensive linemen of your 5 that are on top 20, top 25 contracts. And I went back through the last 10 years of roster building. The only team that's had that many big money contracts on the offensive line was the Eagles. And those offensive lines are like all pros, Hall of Famers. I mean, those are like all-time groups. And the Bills group they have right now is pretty good, but I don't think they're in that category. So if you're going to tie all that money up on your offensive line, it really reduces the margin of error for how you build around that. Now, obviously, the Bills have Josh Allen and a great offensive line. The offense is going to be pretty good. But now you're relying defensively on nailing draft picks. And as much as we're encouraged about what we've seen so far, I don't think Jalen Kilgore is a starter. I don't know if Alarms Orr is going to be a starter, certainly right away. Davis Igbenogson, a second-round pick, is probably a backup. TJ Parker is a third defensive end, maybe at best. So the idea of the Bills having 4 big contracts, and keep in mind, too, whoever wins the left guard battle, he's not under contract next year. So now you might have 5 out of 5 on a big contract. It really doesn't make sense from a roster build to the point where you wonder if the Bills are going to give O'Cyrus Torrence a long-term contract, is somebody not here next year? And if you start looking at the other big contracts, the only one that offers cap relief for next year is Deion Dawkins. And there's a lot of reasons why that might make sense. From a football point of view, that Dawkins is the oldest. Perhaps he's, the furthest away from his prime. I mean, we could make that argument. But obviously, Deion Dawkins is a fixture in the community, a longtime leader of this team. It would not be a simple salary cap move to move on from a guy like that. So while I like signing O'Cyrus Torrence in a vacuum, the questions it brings up from a roster construction point of view are very head-scratching and something that will be a big topic of conversation going into next year, because Torrance's new deal probably doesn't do much to increase his cap hit this year significantly to where you're worried about that.
Yeah, it's funny. Like if we get to, the story where the Bills win, let's say 1 Super Bowl, and now we're looking, a generation or 2 down the line, all right, who someday is in the Hall of Fame? Deion Dawkins is a really good player. He's on the Wall of Fame. He hasn't even been an All-Pro at this point. Because last year of all the years, it was a down year for Deion Dawkins. Hard to kind of evaluate for me. I gotta admit that offensive line play, particularly this time of year, but seems to be at a lighter weight here. And quite honestly, I don't know what the plan would be at left tackle right now if Deion Dawkins weren't available.
If we were going to play that out to where, okay, if you feel like you can't have 5 big contracts or 4 big contracts and 1 medium contract in your offensive line, and you wanted to move on from Deion Dawkins because he's the one that offers the most logical cap relief, that's great. But you look around the league, left tackle is not something you pick up off the scrap heap. You don't spend 6th-round picks on left tackle and watch them develop. Almost everybody has a 1st-round pick at left tackle. The Bills with Deion are one of the exceptions. So it would not be easy if you wanted to keep the roster construction balanced from a financial point of view to just replace that guy. So again, this is why when I was looking at the offensive line construction going through this past offseason, I really thought the Bills might take O'Cyrus Torrence into next spring or next February or March, because you might want to get more information. Is Deion Dawkins a guy that's on the back end of his career to where we're comfortable moving on from him? Is O'Cyrus Torrence really good enough that we want to commit all the money we're going to have to commit to that? Does this offensive line, can we get away? For example, we talk about the draft picks. If the Bills hit on all these defensive draft picks, well, then you could spend a ton of money in the offensive line because you're not doing it on defense. Well, we don't know much about that now. We will in February. So do the Bills wait until February to get a better idea of how to properly spend that money? Brandon Beane said, nope. We're going to keep doing what we do, and we're going to sign the young guy and keep him. And now, we're going to see what kind of bind that puts them in next offseason.
Thad Brown, our guest here, as the Bills tomorrow night, the blue and the red scrimmage. When we get to the first preseason game, we don't know. It's still too early to ask who we'll see out there. I don't want to see James Cook. You go back a year, and James Cook, all right, they got the contract done. The storyline this camp, much different. Could James Cook be used in a different role as a receiver? Thad, are you a proponent of that? Because when we saw this his first year, hey, there were some drops, there were some things. But you know what? We're so far removed from that. Why not give it a shot, in my opinion?
So the thing with James Cook is get him the ball in space. Yes, please. Let's do that as much as possible. But he's not really a great route runner. He just really does not. He's not like Alvin Kamara or a guy like that you can split him out as a receiver and he can really be effective. He's quick and has some athleticism, but he just does not get away from enough defenders to where you can use him as a straight up receiver. So to get him the ball in space as a receiver, it's going to have to be screens. He can run the rail routes and the running back deep routes. Stuff like that he will be fine with because he is quick enough to get downfield. but he's just not complete enough as a receiver to where I want to make him a big part of my passing game. And the other problem is he's still the third best pass blocker in the running back room. So if you want to use him as a receiver, you probably also want that guy to be effective as a blocker to give two-way looks to defenses, and he's the third best guy for that on the team. He's not a terrible blocker, but there's a reason why Ty Johnson plays third down most of the time. He's far better. So I just don't think Cook has enough of a complete skill set when it comes to the passing game to where giving him a super expanded role makes sense. More than last year, sure, that's fine. I mean, get him some dump offs, get him some screens. Let's see how that works. But I still don't think you're going to be able to make use of him enough, or he doesn't fit the passing game well enough to where he should do a lot of the work there when it comes from the running back point of view.
Thad, here's where I'm at with DJ Moore, because I went out to camp, I saw it. Wow, that looks different. You could say, hey, he's the second best receiver, not named Diggs, the best receiver that Josh Allen has had. And I would listen to that, but then I look back at what happened in Chicago last year. I'm like, wait a second, how did he split all the numbers there with a Dunze, who played less games, or a rookie in Luther Burden, and he's coming off career lows? So just that in the back of my mind. What are your thoughts on DJ Moore and how he'll play here in Buffalo this season?
I think he's going to be what the Bills needed most, which was a competent, dependable number one guy. If he can, I don't need him to have 1,500 yards and 150 catches, but if he can get me 3rd and 7 twice a week, or maybe even 5 times a month, then that's the kind of guy the Bills have not had in a long time. And when I mean get 3rd and 7, most of the time when the Bills the last couple of years have had a 3rd and long, it's either Joe Brady draws up just a genius game plan and someone comes wide open, or Josh Allen scrambles for 15 seconds and makes it happen. They don't have a receiver, or have not, who can just flat out win. DJ Moore can be that guy. I don't know if he can be it all the time, to your point about what he looked like with the Bears last year. He may not have that ability anymore. To be honest, I don't know if he's ever been that elite a player. But again, once or twice a week, that's such a difference for this team. When you think about, any third down misses, if you give the Bills this offense 1 or 2 more a week, that to me sounds like a ridiculous improvement. And we've seen he can be more than that too. The deep ball a couple days ago in practice is as good a highlight as you'll see in training camp. The Bills haven't had much of that the last few years either. So while I don't think DJ Moore is going to be Jamar Chase, I don't think he's going to get 1,200 yards. I do think, though, he's going to be able to make enough plays and be competent enough as your number one receiver to ease some of the stress on this passing game that you've seen when there are too many times the last 2 years Josh Allen drops back and you can just see it just by watching him in the pocket that he knows he's going to have to do this all by himself. DJ Moore should at least be able to take some of the stress off of the quarterback in that way.
There's one play from yesterday, Thad, where it's the right sideline. Josh Allen's the quarterback, and it's Keon Coleman putting on the brakes, back shoulder, bam. Hey, rookie corner, AGB. That's okay. That's what you want out of Keon Coleman. And again, it's hard to say. This time last year, Keon Coleman looked good too. So the question here being, what do you think is the ceiling? What do you think is the floor here for Keon Coleman entering this season?
The ceiling is probably respectable wide receiver 3. That play you talk about, if you could get Keon Coleman to do that 2 out of 3 times, then I think you might have something as a reserve lower level receiver. Not a guy who's not going to play, but a guy who gets on the field, 30, 40% of snaps and makes a few plays. What we've seen from camp is you get 1 or 2 of those, and then you get another one where the ball hits him right in the middle of the zero from 25 yards downfield and bounces off his pads and ends up on the ground. He's just not consistent enough. Now, we'll see how much the off-the-field stuff gets better. That would be a start by itself. But to answer your question, to me, the ceiling is respectable wide receiver 3, and the floor is he gets healthy scratched in games. Because if Skylar Bell develops, I think Josh Palmer's had a pretty good camp. There are other guys in this team, Mecole Hardman, Trent Sherfield, that could get jobs, not necessarily because they're straight up better receivers than Keon, but they can do other things. I mean, Mecole Hardman's in the mix to be a return man. Sherfield's one of the better blockers in the league, and the Bills don't really have much when it comes to blocking at wide receiver. So there's a world where he makes the team or plays more than Keon in that realm. But again, you asked me best case, worst case. Sherfield over Keon is, that's a disaster scenario for the Bills. It can happen. I wouldn't bet on it. I just think Keon, again, not consistent enough. the thing that he did coming out of college was being open when you're not making that back shoulder play you talk about. He doesn't do that enough, not consistently enough. He's just not that good a player right now. And while he could be effective and could be, make a play here or there, counting on him for anything right now to me seems too big a ask.
One last one for you, Thad, because yesterday we saw, hey, there's Tyler Bass out there kicking. What do you need to see from Tyler Bass in the upcoming preseason games to make you think, all right, we're all set here. We don't have to even think twice about this.
Consistency, I guess. I mean, kicker's so hard, man, because he might get, 6 kicks in 3 games? You probably would think more with the way this offense is, but 10 kicks? I mean, if he goes 8 out of 10, does anybody feel good about that? Probably not, but 80% is actually relatively okay. I mean, that's not terrible. So, I don't know what we're going to get. I think the Bills, when they did not bring anybody else in training camp, they pretty much made their bet, and now they're going to have to lie in it. And it might be fine because Tyler Bass 2-3 years ago was actually one of the more accurate kickers in the league. He hasn't been that, obviously not last year not playing, but even the year before that when he was playing. So we'll see. I mean, I don't think there's a world where I walk into week 1 and think Tyler Bass is the least of the Bills' problems. He's going to be totally fine. We're going to have to wait probably 3, 4, 5, 8 games into the season before you can even have a real good conclusion on that. The leg is still there, and I think the belief is still there. I mean, he seems like the same guy, but it's going to be wait and see with him for quite a while.
What do you expect tomorrow night? Like the blue and the red scrimmage, but it's the stadium that's a headline story. I'm trying to imagine, how many people are going to be out there tomorrow night, Thad.
Well, it's going to be full. I would be surprised if there's any seat that's empty. Maybe not. I mean, I guess tickets have been claimed and people might decide not to go. I think the weather in Buffalo is not particularly great, which would totally fit with the rest of training camp, right? Joe Brady did say today that it'd be more like a practice. Now, I've heard coaches say that before, and then it ends up being a scrimmage anyway. But I don't think we're going to see much, offense going down the field than second-team offense going down the field. I think it might look more like a straight practice. His point was there's enough going on with guys learning the stadium to want to add in something they haven't done so far in camp. But in terms of the atmosphere, I think it's going to be pretty buzzy. I think people are going to be it'll be less into the game. I don't think, or the what's going on the field, because I think a lot of people will be in there just kind of looking around, look at that scoreboard over there. Wow, check that view out. And, that's where the players stand and that's where they come out. I mean, it'll be a little more of that than it will be yay football kind of thing. It's going to be fun no matter what though, man. First event in a new building. I've never done it. I guarantee 99.9% of the people in that building will be in the same boat, so it would be very cool.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun night tomorrow night. I know you're all going to be over. What else can we check out? News 8 here, Thad, this weekend tonight also.
I got a ton of stuff. So Thad Brown 7, X, Instagram, TikTok. You can find all kinds of content there. I got a Facebook page, stuff there as well. Not only today, but certainly tomorrow at the stadium. Then Rochester First streaming. We've got BKL Nightly tonight and tomorrow. Actually, it's Bills Camp Day recap. We're calling it right now. So every single day there's a practice. We do a half-hour show, recap of everything going on, thoughts of practice. And, of course, tomorrow we're going to have, reactions from the fans outside, reactions from the fans inside. We'll talk to the players inside. We'll show you what the stadium looks like, how it feels, how loud it is. It's going to be a whole bunch of stuff. So Rochester First, Thad Brown 7 on social media everywhere.
Thad, great stuff. Appreciate the time, as always, and we'll be looking for that coverage tomorrow night. Thanks, Thad.
Sounds good, Gene. Thanks, man.
Thanks. Thad Brown, News 8. Our guest. And what I like that he's going to give you honest thoughts, honest opinions. And we'd all say, Cyrus Torrence, yes, and you nod and you say, yeah, that's one of our guys. But then that's a position that is easier to fill than the tackle. Now, you're paying guard money. I get that. I understand that. But it is coming with a little risk, right? Certainly. The Bills decided, and I don't think anybody batted an eyelash at this, when David Edwards walked out the door. I mean, he got big money from the Saints. And I was like, nah, you know what? We can fill that position. We got depth. There wasn't anything. And to be honest, had the same thing happened with Connor McGovern, we'd be saying the same thing. You got Cedric Van Granger. We'll be fine. So Torrance gets his money, and now you have 4 of the 5 starters. Deion Dawkins is the guy. Can he be somebody that not only can just get back to where he was, can he actually elevate? Because when you're going through the exercise of, all right, the Buffalo Bills in this era won 2 Super Bowls or whatever it is. I mean, besides Josh, like, what other guy on this team right now do you say, you know what, That's a future Hall of Famer. Deion Dawkins is really consistent and really, really good. That would be my challenge to Deion Dawkins. How about this year being all pro good? Like, there's too many games where Deion, 5-yard penalty. That's what it is. You don't see him getting beat that often, barring that Houston game. We will have Tim's terrible take coming up. I've got a game here, too. Fill the blank match game coming up here on WGR Rochester, where I will read you this quote about this player, and then you guess what player I'm talking about. We will have time for your calls as well, as we are entering the last hour of the show in this time slot. Yeah, moving on up. 4 to 6 coming Monday. We'll talk about that as well. My name is Gene Battaglia. This is WGR Rochester.
95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR Rochester, an Odyssey sports station. WGR Rochester Sports Update.
The St. John Fisher portion of Buffalo Bills training camp has concluded. The team heading back to Buffalo, where tomorrow night it's the blue and the red scrimmage. And Coach Joe Brady on what to expect.
We're kind of making it like a night game. They're coming in early in the morning, going through a walkthrough. Obviously, that meeting is going to be talking about a lot of parking and all the stuff that we've kind of pushed along. But for everybody, it's kind of a trial run. I want the guys to kind of get a feel of, all right, there's going to be traffic tomorrow. And when you show up to the game, go through all the emotions of trying to figure out the stadium, looking at all the things. And then now we got to go practice.
Another bill gets paid today. Osiris Torrance gets 4 years, $78 million. That extension will keep him in Buffalo until the year 2030. Rochester Red Wings have won the last two in Scranton. Same two teams tonight in Pennsylvania. All the action in the majors on the lights, including the Braves and the Yankees in the Bronx. Gene Battaglin, the sports leader, 95.7 FM, AM 950, WGR Rochester.
Stay for a while, you're in the sports bar on WGR. Grab a drink, hang your coat, get sports talk. Live from Western New York. It's a master show. 9 times better than your typical host. 9 times. Gene and Tim have takes much hotter than most. No one cares when you're out. Sabres, Bills, Americans, Red Wings, and Nighthawks. Sports bar for Rochester Sports Talk.
As we're moving on up. Back to afternoon drive we go. And again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you to everyone who has reached out and said, yeah, this is what we want in our community. We want our radio station back. We're getting it back. Meaning, like, you don't have to deal with the Buffalo commercials anymore starting Monday. Meaning, hey, on your ride home, yeah, we have the Odyssey app, and 1 to 3 we're on today, and you can listen back to any time. But you know what would be nice? Turn it on. I'm going to be right there in the afternoon, 4 to 6, starting back up this Monday. As Ryan Talbot will join us Monday, Maggie Gray will join us Monday, and I invite you to come on in. So for everybody that's reached out, it really does mean a lot. Last night we had the last second change for the Shout podcast site. I'm not even going to mention the other place. Yeah, like, all right, but we were out in Henrietta. And saw Linda, saw Yacht Rock Johnson, saw some other listeners. So it was a good time hanging out with Matt and Ryan. Well, they're out of town now, too. That's it for the Rochester portion of training camp. As we mentioned in the update, what are the headline stories from this camp? Okay, the rookies look okay. That's good. The new defense seems to be coming along. Camp battles? Injuries? Well, we had a scare, but wow, this team's healthy. And, yeah, just a lot of rain. Including this afternoon, although it stopped here at the High Falls Studios. Hopefully everything's nice tomorrow night. Hopefully if you're going out tomorrow night, we don't need any weather delays or anything like that. You're going to go have a good time tomorrow night. And as Dad Brown from News 8 kind of mentioned, expect it to be 50 to 60,000 tomorrow night. It's going to feel like a game day going in, just for a practice. So checking out the new crib, checking out the team. Should be a lot of fun tomorrow night. 585-866-4326. That is our number. This hour is wide open for you. So time for your calls. Have takes lined up. Some other things going around the sports world. Dan DeLorean has 1 foot out the door as he's heading to the woods for a week and a half after today. So young Francesco will be filling in for him behind the scenes. But our fine producer now will bestow his take of the day.
It's now time for Terrible Time Timmy's Terrible Take of the Day on WGR Rochester. WGR Rochester. It's Terrible Time Timmy.
I have a gripe about sports franchises, and it's getting old. It's only happened twice to my knowledge, but we had the Paul Skeens debut patch offer, which was a solid offer from the Pittsburgh Pirates, but it was far, far less than what was deserved as the card eventually sold for over $1 million. Yesterday, the Dallas Mavericks came out with a bounty for the Cooper Flagg autographed debut patch card that he signed at Fanatics Fest a couple weeks ago that it will be available to the public at some point soon. And the offer, again, it's a solid offer if you look at all the stuff, but knowing what this card is going to be sold for and valued at, it's almost nothing in comparison. And it's so bad that they know that it's bad, that if you go to the actual Bounty website for this card, at the bottom of it, there's a disclaimer that says these events may not meet the market value of this card. What are they doing? They're a billionaire. Like, they're owned by a billionaire. You can give just about anything for this card. You could actually offer the value of the card. You could double the value of the card. You can have this card for whatever you want. And the offers for these things are cool experiences, but not even close to the value of it.
No, it's short-sighted, and it's a marketing department that doesn't know exactly how the collectible market works. All right, is it fair to say, like, the collectible market is nothing more than what they compare to, like, non-fungible tokens? Like, this patch is not going to be worth as much. It's not going to appreciate in value over the years.
It could, based on his career, but it could also be way worse.
Right.
If he gets injured and tragically has a 3-year career instead of a 15-year Hall of Fame career, that card's worth next to nothing. Tim
gave me a gift, just so you know, where I like to talk about my generosity when it comes to buying you drinks. And look, at the time I'm like, wow, this is kind of cool. He's like, Gene, I know you're a Mets fan. Here you go. And it's an autographed limited edition card for the guy who was really fun 2 years ago, Mark Vientos.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
sorry that happened.
I still have it now, and I guess I could have it like 10 years from now and be like, yeah, you know what? That reminds me of Tim. I saw that Maverick story. I'm like, come on, really? Really, they're going to be doing this? So this week, Tim, I've thought about this because I've never sat in seats like this. I'm kind of a ticket snob, if you will, when it comes to baseball or for any sport. Like, one thing I want to do on my bucket list is to sit courtside in an NBA game. I would love to see the action that up close. Like, what is it like to hear the chatter, hear everything else? To me, the NBA is the one sport where you can actually get that close to the action. Quite honestly, I can't afford it, and that's not a smart investment. I really would have to pull some strings or fall into something lucky. When I went to the PGA Championship a few years ago, well, that was kind of a similar thing. I went the one day and just parked out actually hole number 1. And not the most interesting hole at Oak Hill, certainly, but hey, we're there on the green on the first one, and I'm right there observing Morikawa and all these golfers, certainly Rory and Rahm, and like, this is awesome. And me and the executive producer, my son, we were there for like well over 2 hours, just parked right on the rope and just seeing these athletes in action. This leads me to I'm getting to the collectible part. So something I've never done in baseball, that's sit in the front row of the outfield. So I'm going on Sunday. I thought it was going to be skiing Sunday. Yeah, no, it's not going to be skiing. They pushed it back. But hey, sitting there right next to the right field foul pole, and I'm looking at this Mets roster. It's Syracuse, basically. Like, it's like that line from the movie Major League. Like, who are these guys? I'm like, okay, great. What is the etiquette if you're going to a game and maybe that's somebody's first home run ball or some sort of milestone ball? Like, if you get something like that, what do you ask for in return? You don't just hand that over.
I think it depends on the player.
What do you ask for in return? Like, say if it's somebody that hits their first home run, okay, and I or somebody else catches it. I don't think I'm just handing that over, but I'm not like holding them up at the gate for give me this, and this, and this. I'd be like, you know what? Sign a bat for me and let me shake your hand and take a picture. Congratulations. I wish you all the best in your career. Right?
I think that's fair. Maybe tickets to a game on top of that. If it's the home team that it's going back to,
yeah.
Ask for tickets to come back.
I mean, maybe it is a jersey asking for too much. I'm wondering, like, what's the price these days for those? When I went to Toronto, I say I've never sat first row. Shame on Buffalo because I didn't think they supported the Jays as they should have.
Right.
I'm sorry, like you didn't. Like I went on the 4th of July. They're playing the Rays. Oh, but they're not the Yankees or they're still a damn good team. And the Jays had Vladdy Guerrero and everybody else. And again, it's the 4th of July. Not like anybody working. And there were 7,000 people there, which for a Saturday game, you get more than 7,000 people for a Rochester Red Wing game. It was COVID, blah, blah, blah. I get it. Well, the point I'm going with here is I'm sitting in the second row behind the Jays dugout. That's how good the seats were because they were available. And I kept noticing, like, okay, there's, somebody breaks their bat or there's a foul ball and there's somebody sitting behind. And, like, every team now has an authenticator. Like, the idea that a foul ball, and this foul ball came from this pitch by this pitcher and this bat, and this foul ball was from Vladimir Guerrero at this time. I'm like, holy cow. There's actually a market out there for this? You're kidding me. Like, legitimately, we're going to save this ball, not put it back into play, but you know what? Somebody's going to bid on this, and we're going to double the value of this. That's when I say collectibles are out of control.
Yeah.
And when I saw this, too, and I'm going to scout out Pittsburgh. Somebody, selfishly, because, I have this platform, hey, if you've been to Pittsburgh, you have any advice, hit me up on social media. I'm all ears, right? When I went out last year to Kansas City with Bink's like, let me take you over here to this store. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, this is pretty wild. It's like they have the Kansas City team store, and then they have the Kansas City authenticated store where you see this bag from this game, this ball. I'm like, hundreds upon hundreds of balls that are just lined up, and I'm like, I can't. Why would I buy one of these? But people are buying them. Hey, here is a Lorenzo Cain jersey that he wore in the World Series. We're offering this for $1,000. I'm like, I can't do that. For a couple of reasons. One, it's the damn Royals, and they beat my team. But number two, I can't afford that. But why are they being priced that way? Because that's what the market is telling you.
People buy it somehow.
People buy it, yeah. So, look, if this were something, Tim, I would think the collectible market, if you were shifty, by shifty I mean like you're like a day trader, right? Like you get things, you get opportunities like this, and you knew where to and how to flip things. I would imagine you could make a pretty good buck. But there are just people, they call them whales out there. They just buy anything. They don't know what to spend their money on. And honestly, like the majority of this stuff, it's not going to go up. For that player you think is going to be really good and that guy's going to go to the Hall of Fame, yeah, there's a much greater chance he's going to be Mark Vientos in 2 years. And be like, looking at this card, be like, oh, I remember Tim. He was looking out for me. 585-866-4326 is the number to call. All right, here is the quote. Now, I'm going to tell you who the quote is from. It's a radio reporter named Byron Kerr. I'm not going to tell you what station because, well, that would give it away. All right, so fill in the blanks here. We'll play match game. Blank player is infectious to listen to. What a bright star. And injects the fire for the blank inserting here. Exciting to see him on the field soon. Let me read that again because I kind of botched that. Blank is infectious to listen to. What a bright star. And injects fire for the blank team. Exciting to see him on the field soon. All right. Tim, I will give you one guess. Who is the player, the team, that we would fill in the blanks here?
Jahmyr Gibbs just signed an extension. He's really good. I'm going to go with him.
That's not true. Again, let's do this again. Think of it from this standpoint. The reporter knows what Jahmyr Gibbs is at this point.
Sure.
This is like you're somebody on the beat. You've talked to Jahmyr Gibbs when he's drafted. You talked to him afterward. You talked to him. This is somebody that, oh, my gosh, I didn't know about this player. I'm going to give you a mulligan on this.
I know who it is now, but I'm very surprised that it's this.
I'm not surprised. Byron Kerr is a sports reporter for our sister station inside the Odyssey app, 106.7 The Fan in Washington. I'll read you the quote again, but this time I'm not filling in the blanks. Stephon Diggs is infectious to listen to. What a bright star, and injects fire for the Washington Commanders. Exciting to see him on the field soon. Byron? Yes, we could tell you the same thing here in Buffalo as they did in Houston, as they did in New England, and yep, as they did in Minnesota. Stephon Diggs. After the year he had to blow up with Sean McDermott, it's 2023 training camp for the Buffalo Bills. And here he is holding court and listening to Stephon Diggs give insight. And the one quote I will always remember, him saying, you know what, in this league, I have more days behind me than I do ahead of me. So self-awareness, thoughtfulness, personality, it's all there. And he's somebody that works his tail off. So where does it kind of not add up? Well, we know the answer to that. That, yeah, when you go in, he is going to be a bright star. He's going to, as you say, inject some fire into the team. He will be exciting to see on the field soon. He's somebody that, by who he is and how he works, everybody else kind of takes a look at it. But because he is that bright star and he demands such a spotlight and the star demands things around his orbit, it's funny how the Bills' offense actually got better when the best receiver left. You don't believe me? Josh Allen was the MVP. And maybe having Stephon Diggs out of the head of Josh Allen actually kind of helped him a little bit. It was one of those, like, should the Bills bring back in Stephon Diggs? And thought about it. Nah, not going to do that. That cannot happen here. So you see how this is going to go. Like Diggs, you're going to get the positivity out of Washington will be tremendous. And, he's helping McLaurin. He's opening things underneath. Yeah, he got 1 year. That's all he got. So I'm not dumping on Byron Kerr. Like, I said the same thing. Like, Stephon Diggs, he's also kind of misunderstood. Well, let me say this. I don't want to say he's not a bad guy because there's some really terrible allegations against him. But when he's on the field, everything seems to be just fine. The Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub Wingman line at 585-866-4326. Award-winning barbecue from Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub, 135 West Commercial Street, East Rochester. GoodSmokeBBQ.com. Brad in Rochester. Buddy.
Time no talk.
Yeah, we're going. By the way, we're going back to 4 to 6, Brad. I don't know if you heard that, but Brad, how are you today?
I did hear that. I'm excited about that, so I can actually hear you guys. So that'll be great. Stephon Diggs. He does bring a certain fire and energy to a team, and it's good for a 1-year deal. I think this 1-year deal is probably going to be the one where it decides where Dan Quinn is hired or fired. It does keep his job or he's fired. All from this one signing. Because Deebo Samuel's gone. Now it's McLaurin and Daniels and Diggs. And can they make a difference? And if they don't, I think it may cost Dan Quinn his job.
I think Dan Quinn is right now, if you had to, thank you, Brad, and I appreciate you following us. I think Quinn is dead man walking. I don't think this is enough, quite honestly. Now, maybe Jaden Daniels was actually hurt last year, and you recapture the magic, and this becomes a fun offense. But let's be honest about Diggs, right? When he gave those quotes in Buffalo, I have more days behind me in this league than I do ahead of me. That was 3 teams ago. 3. And, yes, there were some terrible allegations off the field that proved not to be true in the court of law against Stephon Diggs in New England. But it gave the Patriots, were like, yeah, you know what? Enough. Let's go get A.J. Brown. Let's change this up a little bit. So for Diggs, for Quinn, yeah, last chance for you. Yeah, it's a 1-year deal. For Stephon Diggs, last chance for you. And it was funny, like, we were just kind of, I know the Hall of Fame talk is sometimes like something you go to in the summertime, right? Does so-and-so belong in the Hall of Fame? Oh. 1 Super Bowl for Diggs. one generational play for Diggs in a playoff game. 4 bright years in Buffalo. But beyond that, I don't think it's enough. I think he needs to add more to that resume if he wants to be in Canton. Speaking of Canton, it is this weekend. We do have the ceremonies. We had the Hall of Fame game last night. I did not watch it. I was out with Perino and Talbot at their event last night. By the time I got home, I had to do some other things. But it looked like it was a pretty good game from the reviews, right, in terms of, comparatively speaking to other Hall of Fame games. One of the guys that's going in is Larry Fitzgerald. And one thing about Larry Fitzgerald that we could debate, do you respect him for saying, you know what, I'm staying with one team. I don't want to chase a ring. I'm sure he probably had opportunities to get traded into New England or wherever. Or if he really wanted that, he could have certainly pushed it. Like at that point, in the end of his career, you're Larry Fitzgerald. You can pretty much dictate things. He didn't. He stayed in Arizona. But here's something I do respect, because Larry Fitzgerald, all these press conferences leading up to the Hall of Fame, he was asked just a simple question, right? You're 37 now. What is life like being retired? How do you think he answered that question? He gave a really interesting answer. And by the reporter asking the question that way, it left the door open for something different. If the reporter just said retired from football, he didn't retire. Larry Fitzgerald said, I'm going to be somebody who is never retired. People that go into retirement, that's not what I want to do. I always want to go on to the next phase of life. There are other things out there. And that's a good mindset, too, for any of these young athletes, whatever sport, that their identity is tied to the one sport. Like, no, that's what you're doing right now. But honestly, it's not who you are. And for Larry Fitzgerald to say, no, I'm not retired. In fact, I don't ever want to retire. I admire people that, all right, yeah, I want to keep going, getting after it. Marv Levy, for example, turned 101. Now, I don't know if Marv's going to be able to go out to the Hall of Fame luncheon today or the ceremonies tomorrow, but that's somebody who is always looking for, like, the next challenge. Like Marv Levy, we never heard from Marv Levy again, and just, was in his home, his apartment in Chicago. I don't think we'd ever, think twice about it, but you'll see, hopefully, Marv Levy, before the Bills need a big win, wishing Joe Brady and the team good luck on social media and recording a video or whatever it is. Yeah, just keep grinding, keep going. Good for you, Larry. You're not retired. 585-866-4326. There was one other thing that came up today in Bills camp that we'll get to, that Brandon Beane just put the ixnay on that really, really quick. Like Brad, you can give us a call, 585-866-4326. Gene Battaglia here, WGR Rochester.
update.
That's a wrap on the St. John Fisher portion of Bills training camp. Team heading back to Buffalo. Joe Brady on what's been accomplished so far.
I like them where the guys are at, the personality that they're playing with, the volume that we're putting on their plates and how they're handling it. You know, it's day to day, right? We're still in install and there's intentionality behind everything that we're doing, but everything that we're asking of them, they're handling it in the right way and, you know, kind of making it their own. So I'm pleased with where we're at right now, but it's every day's a challenge, right?
Tomorrow night being the blue and the red scrimmage at New Highmark. Osiris Torrance gets a new deal. It's actually an extension, 4 years, $78 million. Rochester Red Wings looking to make it 3 in a row tonight as they continue their series at Grant Wilkes-Barre. All the action in the majors on the lights, including the Braves playing in the Bronx against the Yankees. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, WGR Rochester.
Rochester's home for live sports and the best sports talk anywhere. The Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia, 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR, Rochester.
One thing that you're going to notice tomorrow night, well, in addition to 50, 60,000 people watching practice, the Bills being in a home element on natural grass. Last time the Bills played a game at home on natural grass, December the 10th, 1972. Ended up being a 21-21 tie between the Buffalo Bills and the Detroit Lions. I was all of 2 years old then, so I do not remember that whatsoever. Timmy wasn't even around at that point. But sure, that's you're heading out tomorrow night. Have a great time. I myself am not going because I planned out this trip long ago to Pittsburgh, and I'm looking forward to it. Yes, the Mets suck. And the Pirates aren't any better. They're not great. But you know what? It's fun, and it sure beats a day of work and going to a sporting event. So that's where I'll be. We'll be back on Monday here in a new time slot, 4 to 6. So please make note of it. And, when we're on in this time slot, it will be whatever they're carrying on WGR Buffalo. So I believe that's Tim Graham, which that's not bad. Tim Graham and Brad Ryder. We will go to Jim Rome. Jim Rome being in the 3 to 4 p.m. slot here. So we welcome back to the Rochester airwaves. And then we take over 4 to 6 before we roll into BetMGM tonight. Ryan Talbot, who I saw last night out. He and Matt did a great job, as always. Ryan Talbot will join us Monday afternoon, as will Maggie Gray. Big fan of the Buffalo Bills, Maggie Gray. 585-866-4326. That is our phone number. On social media today, there's Von Miller. A lot of Bills pictures and whatever and speculation. Von Miller's still looking for work, and I'm not going to, poo-poo any guy that wants to still look for work, whether that's Brandon Cooks or Von Miller or whoever. If you still want to play and you can get the opportunity, then go play. You listen to this cut, though, when Brandon Beane was asked about it today. I don't get the sense this is going to be happening here.
Von Miller, he's posted, it's on social media, a lot of Buffalo Bills stuff. Fans are asking, are the Bills talking about that? Have you guys had any conversations with their camp, and is that something that you think about?
I talk to Vaughn all the time, but we're buds. But yeah, listen, I love Vaughn. You could name 10 other ex-Bills that if everything lined up right, you wouldn't say no to a guy like that. But beyond that, there's nothing imminent or nothing going.
Yeah, that's it. I do believe Brandon Beane on that, and it's the political thing to say, but okay, that would be a fun exercise. Like 1 of 10 guys. Okay, who would be the other 9? Tre'Davious White, Shaq Thompson. Who would be the other 9 former Buffalo Bills that? All right, let's bring him back in. Maybe some are on other teams. Here's one area that I don't think people talked about because really it's not an area of concern. And let me make this clear. You hope you're not talking about the backup quarterback position, but boy, oh boy, Kyle Allen has shown you nothing here. Camp was not good for him. So we're going to rely on Shane Buechele perhaps as the number 2, that guy? I don't want to see Josh Allen out there against the Carolina Panthers coming up next Saturday afternoon. Let Kyle Allen be out there. Let Buechele be out there. Let everybody. But that's one area I'm like, yeah. From the standpoint of All right, if you need another quarterback for, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, and again, I hate bringing this stuff up, but the Bills are not prepared in that area right now. They're just not. I hope that, number one, we don't have to find out. And number two, if they don't make the upgrade, I hope to be proven wrong for Bills fans. But granted, it's sort of a luxury, I suppose. Like, you could, bring in a Mitch Trubisky and have like a third go round with him. To me, I just want somebody that you can trust. And I don't know that guy is Kyle Allen, or for that matter, Shane Buechele. Maybe we get to the Carolina game and, I had that all wrong, and the light bulb will go on. Something to look forward to, these rookies too. And the rookies have been okay. Like Skylar Bell, okay, coming along. Does he make the final roster? Probably. Is he active on game days? Not sure. Kind of in that same boat. I agree with Thad Brown when I asked him. Jalen Kilgore has the rookie safety from South Carolina actually made this team. Jalen Kilgore yesterday talking with reporters as he's coming off the field.
How you is your ability to find a crease and get through?
Yeah, I'm a big, fast, long guy, so I feel like my blitzing ability can definitely help me get to the quarterback and definitely help some good schemes up for the defense.
I think they were saying that with the draft, that Bean was saying that if you had gone back to school, they had no idea where they were going to play you because they could have played you in like several different spots. How important is that you had the training to do all these different things?
I feel like it's a blessing just to be able to have that ability to do a lot of different things. God giving me the energy and the capacity to be able to do that, and the mindset to be able to just go and just provide for the team wherever they need me at. So,
what have you been able to learn from guys like CJ and Cole Bishop in the safety room?
Just the game of football. Just learning how to play, learning how to fit the right gaps, learning how to thud right, practice right, making the right checks and calls. Just learning the whole defense, making calls before they happen, just to make sure everybody on the same page.
Something I like always from camp. Where else do you get the background noise of hundreds of children screaming? Sometimes I'll wake up in the middle of the night. Josh Allen. Like it's fine. It's fine. I think it's great. Like if you have the opportunity to go out to camp. All right. It's kind of a little morose, I suppose, to kind of say, hey, if Jalen Kilgore makes the team, whose job does he take? All right. Well, let's read them off here. And I'm not going, at the corners. We're set there, right? Well, I guess where do we consider D. Alford? Is D. Alford corner 4 or is he a safety? That's a question. All right, so we'll push that to the side right now. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Cole Bishop are your safeties. I would think Geno Stone is on this team. D. Alford, Jalen Kilgore. Jordan Hancock's on this team, right? I think. He's had a good camp so far. I didn't mention DeMar Hamlin. I haven't heard anybody say, he's on this team. And the day the Bills move off of DeMar Hamlin, that'll be a news story. That'll be like, oh, yeah, remember what happened on January 3rd in Cincinnati? I don't know if Hamlin's on this team. I would think that Kilgore is somebody that has a higher ceiling than DeMar Hamlin. D. Alford, is he on this team? I would think so because of his versatility. Maybe Geno Stone is the guy out. Every year there's like a veteran you bring in and, okay, that doesn't quite work out and you move off of it. That's something that when we get to next Saturday, all right, I don't want to see Cole Bishop out there. I certainly don't want to see C.J. Gardner-Johnson out there. Save those guys. All right, can you give Jalen Kilgore a shot? Because maybe we see Bryce Young coming up Saturday. If it's not Bryce Young, maybe it's Kenny Pickett. Oh, that's an angle. Right? Carolina has a game experience under their belt to come into Buffalo. My goodness. You could say I'm stretching here too, which might be true. This is how good things are right now in a place for the Bills because what are we talking about in terms of camp battles? Seems like to me that maybe you can make a case for Austin Corbett. No, it's Alec Anderson at left guard. The inside linebacker position is an interesting one. I think Caleb Elam-Zor is the guy. I would let him be out there over a Dorian Williams. Thad Brown thinks otherwise. Thad Brown says, no, that should be Williams and Bernard on the inside. And you bring them. It could be one of those, okay, that's how we start. Maybe it transitions at some point. There's nothing of glaring concern right now for the Bills in terms of the roster. It's okay. The defense is going to be okay, but can it be great? That's the question. And I think the answer lies up front. Can Greg Rousseau take a step forward in just a slightly different role for him? Ed Oliver, slightly different role. If Deion Walker's the guy, freeing him up. If you put Ed Oliver over a guard, good luck to that guard. What do we get out of T.J. Sanders? Landon Jackson, can he make this team? Will he make it over Dwayne Carter? A lot of questions we will be figuring out. Story from yesterday, Tyler Bass. Okay, he's out there, he's kicking, and we'll see him out there kicking as well coming up tomorrow. And what do you need to see from Tyler Bass? That's an 8 out of 10. Yeah, 80% is kind of the normal clip. It's hard for me I don't want to imagine preseason games where this just goes sideways and you're like, uh-oh, we need to bring in competition. But, hey, I'm not talking about last year, which was a washout. You had a point back in the 2024 season where Brandon Beane brought in kickers during the week. Usually that's a precursor to say, hey, all right, we need this to kind of turn around. And to Tyler Bass's credit, he did. Yeah, the easy part is, hey, Bass, make your kicks, and we don't have to think about this. Last call is coming up here in the sports bar, and literally this will be the last call in this time slot here. Minor league sports, a new way to make money, perhaps. I'll get to that as well. My name is Gene Battaglia. This is the Sports Bar, WGR Rochester.
Home for live sports and the best sports talk anywhere. The Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia, 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR, Rochester.
We were talking earlier, you brought up the story how the Mavs are doing everything they can to buy this one-of-one card back, offering like kind of things that are below market value for Cooper Flag. I mean, this is like the golden age of, card collecting collectibles, is it not? Like, is it going to get even crazier? I'm going to give you one story here that makes you say, okay, now this might not be coming cool. Welcome back to the Sports Bar. One last segment in this time slot. 585-866-4326 if you want to sneak in. Tom Brady has announced that he is opening up a chain of stores, he and his investors, called Card Vault. You can see this in a mall near you or wherever, and he's eyeing 100 stores throughout the globe. I don't want to do a store, says Brady. I want to open all of them. Okay, a couple thoughts here. Okay, well, he sees the opportunity like most, like when it comes to these sort of things. And I think it's an industry that at some point might capsize here a little bit. There's only so much, only so many high-end stuff, only so many people. The take here, though, really is about Tom Brady. I view Tom Brady as someone that really doesn't know what he wants to do with his life. He wants to do lots of things, and I guess I really can't, blast him too much, or can I? Like you want to be an NFL owner, but then I think this contract from Fox is really good. But then I'm gonna be an investor and kind of go over here. Look, just Tom. My advice: pick one thing and be great at it. You can do that. You did it as a quarterback. You look at the traits of great ones, it comes at a detriment to everything else. For you, your wife said at the time, hey, no more football. Nope, I'm going to keep playing football. And now she's with her jiu-jitsu instructor.
No more wife.
No more wife. So, he's just kind of searching. All right, you want to go open card stores? Well, then great. Become the best card guy there is. You want to become an announcer? See, maybe this is where you're wasting my time sometimes, because I think Tom Brady can be better at this. He's not Tony Romo, who didn't put in any prep, but Tom Brady can't put in the prep that's needed for that job because he's a damn owner, part owner of the Raiders. Also, too, you have an opportunity with the Raiders. Why not just go down that road and try to build a team the way you see it need to be done? You want to win the all-time argument, was it Belichick or was it Brady? Then win with the damn Raiders. You won with Tampa, right? And that probably, won the argument, right? That, hey, I can win without you too. Bam. Championship. Well, okay, then build a champion with the Raiders. That alien-looking owner, Mark Davis, with the bowl cut. If you can navigate through that. But you know what? You don't want to do that either. You just only want the perks. So I just think that Tom Brady is somebody that right now doesn't know what he wants to do. I always thought Tom Brady would go into politics. If he decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to run for, governor of Massachusetts.
Maybe that's his next endeavor.
Maybe that's it. Yeah, that's going to be it.
Got his hands in everything.
Yeah, he'll. If I had to predict, that's where he's going to go. 585-866-4326. Again, I applauded Larry Fitzgerald for saying, hey, I don't want to be. I'm not retired. What are you kidding me? Not playing football anymore, and that's kind of a role model. But for Tom Brady, he just wants to be like everything to everyone. This is my perception. So in baseball, this is going back long time, right? They used to have major league tryouts, if you can imagine this. And I remember you'd see a little thing hey, yeah, the St. Louis Cardinals at Silver Stadium are going to have a tryout. Can you imagine that? Hey, I'm somebody who, they don't exist anymore. You know why? Because there's scouts and everything else. And why are we wasting time hoping that, hey, here's somebody that picked up the game of baseball at age of 22, and all of a sudden we're going to sign him? It doesn't work that way, folks. And if you're somebody that wants to, hey, I didn't get my shot in college, can I do this? Yeah, it's called independent league baseball. And maybe that could lead to baseball overseas, or it's played around the globe. I'm only bringing this up Because wouldn't you think the same thing is true when it comes to the NBA? Not that the NBA is having a tryout, mind you, but the G League team for the Detroit Pistons. I would be totally lost if you asked me, like, name G League teams. Couldn't do it. They're called the Motor City Cruise. Okay. The Motor City Cruise is having a professional tryout. Oh, there's a catch. You got to pay $250.
Non-refundable.
Non-refundable. Oh, like every minor league executive that is thirsty for a promotion, more importantly, thirsty just to feed themselves. Like, honestly, like, how do we make money? There's only so many billboards we can sell. Our tickets aren't going up. We're a minor league team.
You're all cut. Thanks for the donation.
Yeah, like for the Motor City Cruise, $250. Okay, if they get do the math there, 20 kids that go out, hey, that's $5,000. Now, what's getting roasted in this? Little did I know, they did this already. They did this last year, and this is coming up in my feed. Like, here are these guys, and there's this guy dribbling the ball up the court, and he's rather portly. All right,
I saw that too.
Like, what are you doing? Like, are you kidding? Like, if I had $250 and I could say, you know what? I tried out for the Detroit Pistons. Well, really, it was their G League team. I mean, what do they give you? Do they give you a little plaque? Do you get to keep the little jersey? What is it you get for your $250? Does somebody actually make the team? This, ladies and gentlemen, is a racket. And it leads me to think the G League isn't real. The G League, like, there isn't any money to be made in the G League. I always wondered, like, hey, we're Rochester. We should have more minor league sports here. Let's bring in a G League team. No, we don't. The Knicks can go play in Westchester, and again, I don't even know the name of their team. It wouldn't draw.
It's the Knicks.
Is it really?
It is the Knicks.
It's the Westchester Knicks. Great. Like, isn't it funny? Like, nobody with our arena has ever said, you know what, let's put a G League team. It's never been a conversation because we'd be landing on crap like this too.
31 teams in the G League. I don't think I can name 3.
Tim, now see, this would be a funny radio bit. If there was ever like the Rochester Raptors or whatever tryout.
I would do it.
Listen, I would pay. The executive producer would be really mad. Like, you're giving Tim $250 for what? I'm like, no, I want to do this. And like, there's Tim. Maybe you show up in your banana outfit.
I would get told to leave the gym as soon as I stepped on the floor, but it would be fun.
We are not like other shows here on this station. We try to take ourselves not too seriously, which is why we're the sports bar. Have fun. We're going back to happy hour starting Monday, 4 to 6. If you miss any of the show, we're inside of the Odyssey app, 4 to 6. Please join us coming up Monday. Have a great sports weekend. My name is Gene Battaglia, along with Tim Schneider and the Dan DeLorean and Francesco here on WGR Rochester.